Louie T, welcome to lockdown coverage, week number 6 in the National Football League. Carolina Panthers on the road taking on the New Orleans Saints. Every time these two teams get together, it's family business of the highest importance in terms of points. AKA the Big 12, man. Defense not allowed. Do not apply. You know how these two teams do it, man. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. And we talking about defense. But if they did, it's family business. We're going to jump into this breakdown here in a second. But let's welcome everyone to the Louie Tee Network. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content in 2016 and beyond. Doing some big things on this channel. Want you to be a part of it, so go ahead and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network. Also on Twitter, @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and give me a follow there. If you're on Twitter while you're watching this live, go ahead, use the hashtag #LouieTeeLive to have your comment read at the end of this breakdown so we can converse back and forth and you be a part of this show. Also on Facebook, In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead, give me that thumbs up. I'm just really discovering Facebook Live, and so I'm going to be doing some exclusive content up there eventually. So go ahead, get ahead of the curve, like the Facebook page. That being said, if you're watching this on the YouTube live chat discussion, go ahead, use the hashtag #LouieTeeLive. I will read your comment at the end of this breakdown as well. That being said, let's do what we do. Break down Panthers and Saints. Lockdown coverage. Likes, dislikes, banana in the tailpipe. Start with the likes of the Carolina Panthers. They were the road team in this Big 12 matchup. Getting 10 points late in the first half. Okay, Panthers were down 21-0. It looked bleak. It looked like this was about to be an ass whooping of epic proportions. But as we all know, Saints have done this before. Remember, we need not go any further than last year. At home, Saints jumping on top of the Panthers early in that game before the Panthers walked them down and won that game late. So we've seen these theatrics before from the Saints, and we know their defense isn't good enough to stop anybody from putting up 30 plus. So this game was never out of reach, but they were in the danger zone. They shouldn't be alone. They were close, were the Carolina Panthers, and they put up 10 late in the first half. And I think all of the festivities got jumped off by Will Lutz missing a field goal. We'll talk about that a little bit later on, but 10 points to end the first half kind of settled the ship a little bit. Instead of this thing getting out of hand and potentially being a shutout being pitched in the first half, 24-10 was the deficit at halftime. If you're the Panthers, you would take that after being down 21-0 at one point in the first half. You go to the Saints and their first half likes. Opening drive, beautiful. Right down the field. They get in the end zone. Kobe Fleener on a jet sweep on 4th and 1. I love it. This is my motto. Or this is not my motto, but this is what I love to see from teams. Look, you got a losing record. You're 1-3. Why are we kicking field goals from the 3 or the 4 yard line on 4th down? Why are we kicking a field goal from 4th and goal from the 1 or the 2? Come on, man. You're 1-3. Go for that. And Sean Payton understands that. And they got it. Beautiful play call on a jet sweep. To, of all people, Kobe Fleener, man. The Panthers were taken off guard by that. And or caught off guard by that. And he got in the end zone. 7-0. Nice opening drive by the Saints. Big TD to Brandon Cooks, 87 yards. And this Panthers defense has been giving up huge plays. This goes all the way back to the Atlanta game 3 weeks ago. This is what they do. They give up big plays, and they've been struggling in that department. And we said as much, and really this actually goes back to the San Francisco game in week 2, giving up big plays because they gave up a big 75-yard catch and run to Vance McDonald for a touchdown in that game. We said that once Josh Norman vacated, there were going to be some lumps and bumps that they were going to take in that secondary. I just didn't expect it to be this many. And the lack of pressure up front isn't helping out a young, inexperienced, and decimated secondary. And they're just getting torched. And this 87-yard touchdown to Brandon Cooks is just more proof of that. right now. Tommy Lee Lewis punt return sets up a Michael Thomas touchdown to give the Saints a 21-0 lead. And that's another surprising aspect of the Panthers' struggle this season is the hell happened to your special teams, man? Like overnight, that thing just got bad. The Vikings with a punt return for a touchdown. You get a big return here by Tommy Lee Lewis. And really, he didn't get touched by the punter. He should have got up and kept running. And really, he didn't even need to do all of that jumping. All he had to do was give him a quick in and out. And Andy Lee would have fell down. Punters are so unathletic, most of them at least. He didn't have to jump up in the air and do all of that. Andy Lee would have been shooken out of his drawers if he'd just give him a quick in and out. And he would have been gone up the sidelines for a touchdown. Don't let the punter get you, man. You know the rules to the game, then play. Sterling Moore with an interception in the end zone of Cam Newton to preserve the shutout at the time of 21-0. Really don't know who to blame on this one. We'll talk more about the interception. Big play by Sterling Moore to get 2 feet inbounds. And yes, I thought he did get that second foot inbounds. It was close, but I thought he was able to keep his toes from getting on the white chalk. Late field goal to end the half. Panthers in the first half on a 10-point flurry, on a 10-0 run. And great job of the Saints to get 3 back to extend it back out to a 2-touchdown lead at 24-10. Thought that was huge. And as you saw at the end of the game, when you're talking about a 3-point game and a field goal winning you the game and that being the difference in the outcome, those 3 points before the half were huge for the Saints in this game. You go back to the first half, and now we're talking dislikes, and we're talking Carolina Panthers dislikes in the first half. Kyle Love with a personal foul, a low hit penalty. Saints were going to have to settle for a field goal. He instead is called for the personal foul penalty. And with Will Lutz back there, all bets are off. He may have missed that field goal for all you know. So that turned out to be huge. It aided and abetted the Saints in getting a touchdown on that first possession instead of settling for a field goal. Big play given up to Cooks. You got cooked by Cooks, man. And you can't allow that to happen. And that's your rookie, Zach Sanchez, out there biting on an out and up. And it's really simple. You'll give up the 10-yard dig, or the 10-yard out. You don't want to give up the 87-yard touchdown, though. And so that's the growing pains of the young fellas, man. They'll bite and come up on something that's not necessary. He catches that and tiptoes and goes out of bounds for 10 yards. Who cares? You give that up. But you don't come hauling ass like your hair's on fire to play the 10-yard out and give up the 87-yard out and up. And that's what he did. And that's what happens when you got young boys out there. They don't know no better. Baptism by fire, as I always like to say. Giving up a 49-yard punt return to Tommy Lee Lewis. The special teams for the Panthers have been bad. You give up the punt return to the Vikings. Marcus Sherrill's touchdown in that game. You give this up here. Special teams has not been great. Graham Gano has been suspect all season long. Missed a kick in week 1 versus the Broncos. Missed an extra point in this game that forced you to have to go for 2. Luckily enough, that wasn't the deciding factor in the game as you were able to convert a 2-point conversion to overcome his mishap. Graham Gano has not been as reliable as he has been in the past. I believe he missed a kick last week versus Tampa as well in that game too. So who knew Graham Gano was going to be a liability this season, but he has. Special teams has not been kind to the Panthers with all of their struggles. The one thing they didn't need was more on their plate from special teams, but yet that's what has happened this season. Cam throwing the interception in the end zone. All right, so my question is on this one, who's at fault here? I thought Cam put a little bit too much on this, but then it looks like Funchess didn't think the ball was coming his way, kind of slowed down a bit. He did his best to try to knock it away. He actually did deflect the football, just went straight in the air, and Sterling Moore was still able to make a play on it. I really don't know who to blame. I thought Cam put too much on this. You got a 6'5", and in this case, 6'4" receiver. Throw it up to him, not throw it far to him. Throw it up. Just throw it right where he is, but high. Let him go up and climb the ladder and go get it. I thought he put way too much air and made him have to go and get that football. It needed to be right where he was. Just let him box out and post up and go up and get the football, and they didn't do that on that particular play. So really don't know who to place the blame on there, but it was an interception nonetheless. Still 21-0 after that interception there. Allowing a field goal at the end of the half. you go on this 10-0 run to end the first half. You're feeling good about yourself. You're like, yeah, we got these boys. We can come back and take this one at 21-10. And you allow them to march right down the field, get in the field goal range, and allow Will Lutz to tack on 3 before the end of the first half. And like I said, you don't know what that's going to mean at the time, but don't give up points at the end of the half. If you can avoid it, do so. You didn't do that. And again, in a game that ended up coming down to 3 points, that field goal right before the half turned out to be huge. 24-10 is the halftime score. You go to the Saints in their first half dislikes. Will Lutz misses a field goal from 53 yards. And I thought this was the beginning of the end of the dominance in this game for the Saints. He makes that field goal. It's 24-0. And the Panthers have to drive the length of the field. Instead, he misses. And you know, if you miss a 53-yard field goal, that's great field position for the opposition. And so the Panthers take over with great field position almost out at the 40-yard line. And they turn right around and get points off of that. They get a field goal off of that, their first points of the game. And then they turn around, get a stop, and get a touchdown. And then, boom, just like that, they're right back in this game. And I thought it all started with the miss by Will Lutz. Allowing 10 points to end the first half is my last dislike for the Saints. They didn't do much wrong in the first half. I thought the defense looked good. They ran around. They made plays, forced an interception. The offense had it on tilt early in the ball game. And just at the end, you let up briefly, temporarily, and just like that, 10 points on the scoreboard, and it's a totally different ball game from that point on. And so can't take your foot off the gas pedal. We see this all the time with this Saints team. Whether it's against the Raiders, you got those guys dead to rights. You're up 14, you're dominating, and you let them back in the ball game. You can't take your foot ever off the gas pedal, especially when your defense isn't that good to begin with. Let's go back to the lights, go to the second half this time, and back to the Carolina Panthers. Heart of a champion. I talked about the heart, this right here, that's beating in their chest. I talked about the heart of a champion 2 weeks ago versus the Falcons, when the Falcons had them blown out in that game. It was 31-10. That game was over. Cam Newton gets injured. They could have easily packed it in, but they didn't. And even their backup quarterback, Derek Anderson, comes in and helps them fight back into that game, get within one score. They ultimately lose that game 45-48, something like that, to 33. But nonetheless, they fought in this game. They were down 21-0. This game looked like it could be over. It looked like it could have been a beatdown of epic proportions, to the point where we start asking, our jobs on the line. Did this team quit? Those were questions that could have been potentially coming had they went into their bye week with a loss that says something like 44-10. Did this team quit? Are these guys all in? Are they still invested? But they didn't do that. And that's because this is a team full of guys who refuse to quit. They've got the heart of a champion. They've been there. They know what it takes to get it done. They just, unfortunately, don't have all of the same pieces. They're not fully healthy, but no excuses here. Everybody around the league is banged up. Everybody's dealing with injuries. Nobody wants to hear excuses about who's in and out of the lineup. A lot of these are self-inflicted wounds by the Carolina Panthers, and now you have to reap what you have sown. And so there's no excuses here. But they came back down 21-0. And that speaks volumes as to Ron Rivera and these players on this football team not quitting in this game, finding a way, scratching, clawing to get this thing knotted up at 38. It took a while, and they had to take the long route. Down 21-0, down 24-10, down 31-30 because of a missed extra point. They finally got even at 38, but it wasn't enough. Teddy Williams with an interception turns into a J. Stu touchdown, his second of the day, and you get the missed extra point by Graham Gano to cut it to 31-30. There's a huge play in the game because even with the score and the momentum that the Panthers had, the defense was still struggling. They still were struggling, and they would give up another touchdown later on in the game. So you just needed to take the football away. You needed to play by a defense. You didn't trust them to just go out and get stops. And so Teddy Williams getting that interception gave the Panthers an opportunity to slice into that lead even more. And they thought they were going to tie the game up until Graham Gano missed. So big play by Teddy Williams there. You go to the second half lights for the New Orleans Saints. Coby Fleener with a 50-yard touchdown. Big game for him. I think this was his breakout game. I thought he played well against Atlanta in that blowout loss, but I thought this was even better. Him getting in the end zone, making some big plays in this game. That was a screw up somewhere in there. I don't know if he was in the wrong or Cooks was in the wrong, or I think it was actually Willie Snead that was over there. But you see Luke Kuechly going to Willie Snead and trying to break up the pass and leaving Coby Fleener because he thought that's where the ball was going. And Fleener says, let me get that, and runs in for a 50-yard touchdown. So big game by Coby Fleener. They needed that touchdown because the Panthers had gotten it to 24-17. So you stretch it back out to 14. Every time they think they're right there, they're close, they stretch it back out. And that was a big touchdown there. Then you get a response. Okay, Panthers got all the momentum. They've climbed all the way back. The game should be tied, but the difference is a missed extra point by Graham Gano. It's 31-30. If you don't score here, if you don't respond here, you're going to lose this game. If you're the Saints, you're going to lose this game. The Panthers smell blood in the water, and if you don't respond at 31-30, I guarantee you lose this football game. And if this was last year, you probably do lose this game. But this isn't the same Panthers. They couldn't find a way to get the stop necessary. You took the football and you did what you were supposed to do with it. You got it in the end zone. 49-yard catch by Cooks. Cooks cooking the Carolina Panthers. They got cooked by Cooks yet again down the sideline. And then Josh Hill, with arguably the play of the game, got a defender draped all over him, hand inside of his arms, yet he's got strong enough hands to possess the ball, fall to the ground, ball does not move, touchdown. Great play by Josh Hill. Great throw by Drew Brees, who took a shot to the chops, was bleeding. K'Wan Short lit him up, got a personal foul penalty that was tacked on to the kickoff. So that was the type of response you needed. With the score being 31-30, that gives you the 8-point advantage. And a little bit of breathing room, you would ultimately give that up because that's all the Saints know how to do is give it up. But nonetheless, you gave yourself the breathing room necessary to try to get this game, and that was a huge drive there. Of course, the biggest like of them all, Will Lutz, who I love to call Will Klutz. Will Lutz coming through in the clutch with a 51-yard field goal for the win. I thought the Saints handled the clock poorly there. If you're going to kick the field goal in that situation, you got 2 timeouts. What are you waiting for? Let the clock wind down. I don't know if the Panthers took that timeout. I think the Saints took that timeout. I can't be sure, so I shouldn't point and assign blame there. But in any event, Lutz from 51 yards clutch gives them the 41-38 lead. Let's go to the dislikes in the second half. We go back to the Panthers. Coby Fleener, 50-yard touchdown. Another big play is what I wrote in my notes. And the big play has been the Achilles heel of this Panthers defense this season. We talked about big plays last week. Forget about the big plays in this game, okay? You got the Fleener 50-yarder. You got the Cooks 87-yarder. You got the Cooks 49-yarder. You got the Tommy Lee Lewis punt return. Too many big plays given up. Forget about those. Last week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, big plays in that game. That's how they scored their points. The week before that, Atlanta Falcons. Julio! 300 yards. I don't need to tell you about all the big plays in that game. Austin Hooper, all the big plays in that game. This team is giving up too many big plays this season. They're not going to win many games if they continue to give up big plays. This league is built on big plays. The teams that have to drive the football consistently normally settle for field goals. You give up big plays in this league, you will lose football games on a consistent basis. They're giving up big plays in Carolina left and right. Graham Gano misses the point after. Come on, dude. Come look, man. You got one job, man. 2 jobs if you want to count kicking the football off. You got one job to do, though, man. Kick it through the uprights. All right? It's not a surprise. They don't randomly give you a distance to kick the football through the uprights on the extra point. It's 33 yards every time. Same spot every time. You figure out which place is the best for you to kick it. Left hash, right hash, down the middle. Figure out where it's the easiest and kick it through the damn uprights. You shouldn't be missing a 33-yard extra point. Figure it out. I want it on the left hash. I want it on the right hash. I want it down the middle. I don't care what's best for you. Figure it out. Make your goddamn extra points. No excuses for missing extra points. These kickers, too good in this day and age. Make your damn extra points. The 49-yard Brandon Cooks catch, I'm not going to continue to beat that horse. It's been dead. It's been dead long ago. Flies and maggots have surrounded the horse. He's dead, man. I'm not going to beat that horse anymore. It's dead. Stop giving up big plays. Let's go to the Saints in their second half dislikes. Tommy Lee Lewis with a third down drop. You got these boys. Keep your foot down on that gas pedal. You got their esophagus and you can crush their larynx. You can crush it. Catch the football on third down. Nothing but space and opportunity down that sideline. At that point in the game, it's 24-10. You get something going, and if you score on that first possession coming out of the halftime break, these boys are done. Finished, I tell you. Catch the football on third down. Kenny Vaccaro. Pass interference on a fourth down leads to an Ed Dixon 24-17 touchdown catch. First of all, on the touchdown to Ed Dixon, that's ridiculous. You're rolling out to your left, across your body, you jump in the air, and you throw the football to Ed Dixon in the end zone. How he got enough on that, don't ask me. I don't know. That was incredible. That's Cam Newton, though, for you right there. But to go back a little bit to what allowed that to happen, the Kenny Vaccaro pass interference, bruh, don't panic. You're in great position to make a play. Find the football. I tell these young guys all the time, don't panic. Just because the ball's in the air, don't panic. Locate. Knock it away. Locate. Knock it away. Okay? You don't have to panic. These boys don't know where the ball is. They don't care to know where the ball is. And because of that, they panic. They see the guy's eyes getting big. Oh, ball's coming. I better start flailing my arms. I better start making contact. Pass interference. Yeah, that was pass interference. You in great position. Cam did not put enough on that ball. Knock it down. He panics. Pass interference. Couple plays later, touchdown. Cuts the lead to 24-17. Sterling Moore, pass interference down to the 1-yard line. And there were plenty of pass interferences on the Saints. And, you know, they're struggling in that secondary. They're hurting, man. A lot of guys that probably shouldn't be on the field. And so Sterling Moore, who made a great interception earlier in the game, now gets a pass interference down to the 1-yard line. That pass interference was in the end zone. Turns it to a Jay Stu touchdown. It's 31-24. So you're aiding and abetting the Panthers in their attempt to come back and rob you blind of a W. Your guys are down the field aiding and abetting in the Panthers trying to rob you of a victory. Stop it. Stop doing that. Another pass interference on Dixon late in the game. 2-point conversion afterwards. So you get the pass interference, leads to a touchdown run by Cam, and then a 2-point conversion to Funchess in the end zone. It's a tie game, man. And Drew Brees throws the interception in between those two pass interferences to allow them to get the score to 31-30. So a lot of mistakes, man. You want to show the blueprint on how to blow a lead. That's how you do it. You make those types of mistakes. You made those types of mistakes in this game, and luckily it didn't come back to haunt you. I got a couple banana in the tailpipes. Start with the Panthers. They're 1-5. I told you their season was done last week. Their season already was done. Now it's officially done. But I'm not willing to give up on this team yet. And I look at their division, and they're not going to win this division. Even if the Falcons somehow fall to pieces, and I don't see that happening. But let's say the Falcons have a similar situation like last year, and let's say they end up 8-8. I still don't know if the Panthers have enough in the tank to get where they need to be to make this thing interesting in this division. But I'm not going to count them out. They're going to win some games that you probably don't think they're going to win. This defense is not good, though. I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to get that much better because there's a lot of moving parts. They don't get enough pressure on the quarterback. They don't have the guys in that secondary that will mature now. Maybe when Bradbury comes back, because he wasn't that bad before he left. Maybe when he comes back, we'll see what happens in terms of that secondary getting better, because they're giving up a ton of big plays. But make no mistake about it, he's a rookie too. He's going to give up his fair share of plays, and you still got to play somebody opposite of him. So you're still going to give up some big chunk plays in that secondary. I'm not buying this defense anymore. I think they're done. But I'm not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe of the fact that this Panthers team is done. They're going to win some games. They're going to beat some teams that they probably shouldn't beat. They're still a good team in terms of knowing how to win. Now, as far as them actually putting that product on the field, no. The defense isn't what it was before. This offense makes a bunch of mistakes. And so and Cam didn't run as much in this game. And I didn't tell him not to run. I just told him to be careful. Okay, there's a difference between being careful and not running. And he took some sacks that I didn't think he needed to take just because it's like he was reluctant to run. Hey, you, Cam. Hey, yeah, you, run. You still Cam Newton. I didn't say take shots. Slide, get down, whatever you need to do, run out of bounds, but you still need to use your legs. Those are still an asset to you. I didn't think he did that. And for the Saints, you won your last 2 games, but your defense is bad. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that you're going to just start winning football games. Your defense is bad. And guess what? You're not going to play teams in your division in the Big 12 every week, which is going to allow you to rack up 38 and 35 points every week. You're going to actually play some teams that can play some defense, and you're going to lose games because your defense is still going to give it up. So I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Oh, we're back in this thing. We're at 2-3. Your defense is horrible. Horrible. You had a huge lead in this game, and you had to struggle with a late second field goal to win when you dominated this game. That's because your defense isn't very good. So I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe that you're going to win a ton of games. Your defense is going to let you down a ton this season, and you're going to lose games that you probably play well enough to win offensively, but you're still going to give it up on the defensive side of the football. That being said, let's jump into some of these comments. I want to check Twitter first, see if I got any comments on Twitter. I seriously doubt it, but like I say, I always like to do my due diligence. So I'll make sure I don't have anything on Twitter, and I don't. So I'll jump into your comments here on the actual chat live feed discussion board. Sindeko. Banana in the tailpipe. The Panthers are really this bad. There's simply too much talent on this team. Injuries at key positions, losses, and after the bye, the Panthers will be 100%. I'm not buying that they're that bad either. I think that's a banana in the tailpipe, but their season is done. And Sindeko says, are the postseason aspirations of the Panthers over? Yes, barring injuries. A winning record can be achieved, though. I'm not so sure that a winning record can be achieved either. They still got a tough slate in front of them. In order to win enough games to have a winning record, they would have to go 8-2 down the stretch. I don't see that happening. Their record, their schedule is just too brutal down the stretch. No way. They may be able to get to 500. That's the stretch. Because in order to do that, you still got to go 7-3 down the remainder of the schedule. I don't see that happening for this Panthers team. 7-9 is the best I can give them right now. First name, last name says, what do you think of Cam leaving with 90 seconds? Within 90 seconds of his post-game interview, he's got to grow up. I was willing to take it at the Super Bowl. It's the biggest game, the biggest stage. You can hear the other team talking trash on the other side of those thin little platforms that they set up in little cubby holes. I get it, man. I understood that. I didn't like it, but I said, I get it, man. I'm a sore loser too, so I get it. I understand, but at some point, you got to grow up. You got all these sponsors, and you're the face of all of these different companies, and you're on Nickelodeon, and you're the face of this Panthers franchise. You got to grow up, man. Yeah, I know it sucks. You're 1-5. I get it. But you got to be a man. You out there dancing before the game, and it's all cool, and you're doing all of that. When you're winning, and you love to talk, and you love to smile, and you're flossing your teeth on the sidelines. When you're winning, now you're losing. You don't want to talk to people. Got to grow up. Okay? The Super Bowl was supposed to serve as a lesson to him. Yeah, I need to be better, man. I know I don't like losing. I don't handle it well, but I got to be better. This is piss poor on his part. He's got to be better. No excuses. He needs to grow up. Okay? Stop with the 10-year-old temper tantrums at the, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Stop with all of that. You a grown-ass man, act like it. Aaron Hernandez, I think the Panthers are just not a good team. They're not playing like one, but I won't go as far as to say they're not a good team. They're just not playing like one right now. And it's because of the decisions that were made. They have to pay for these. You don't get to make reckless decisions as an organization and don't pay for them. That's not how it works. All good things must come to an end, though. And their time was up. Adrian Hernandez says, LOL, I was going through some of your older videos and found NFL's most wanted playlist. What was that? I'm gonna explain that one day to you, man. Remember when the Chiefs started 1-5 and won like 10 straight? Possible route for the Panthers? No. Here's why. The Panthers, they don't play any defense. The Chiefs play defense. There's a difference between the two teams. Chiefs played lights out defense last year, and they don't turn the football over. And their special teams was actually really good. The Panthers' special teams is horrible. They don't play any defense. And this team isn't mentally where they need to be to run off 10 straight. That's not going to happen. Sindeko says, after 3 great off seasons, I'll admit Gettleman severely dropped the ball this year. The Josh Norman loss is only one guy. We lost 3 backs. There are no additions at tackle. Shaking my head. I've been a staunch detractor of Dave Gettleman. I don't think his 3 off seasons have been great at all. But again, Panthers fans are going to laud and praise him because you've been winning. Winning cures all. But I don't think it was great, and I think you're starting to see why this isn't great. It's not great to have 5 draft picks every year. That's not smart business because you find yourself in holes like this where you don't have depth to back up guys and you have positions of need. You're great on the front line. But when those frontline guys get injured, you don't have a lot of depth on this team. Know why? Because every year you're only drafting 5 players. That's a problem for me. 5 or 6 guys, that's not enough. It's not enough. And when you're stockpiling them at the same damn position, how many linebackers you need? How many of those you need? Seriously, how many linebackers you need? I'm just saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. But, and that one guy that he let go would have made a huge difference in Carolina. Let me tell you that right now. Captain Spartan 04 says, do you think the Panthers had one goal and that was to beat the Broncos? You asked me this before. I don't think they were that hell-bent on beating the Broncos, and once they didn't win that game, it all went to hell in a handbasket. Yeah, they wanted to beat the Broncos, and they had an opportunity, and Graham Gano missed the kick. But let me just clear the air on this one real quick. They went the next week and beat up San Francisco, and they looked like the team that we have come to know and love over the last couple of years and the one that was dominant last season. The problem is they're not the same team from last year, and that was proven the very next week when they lost to Carolina. They got punched in the mouth by a bully, and they used to be the ones punching teams in the mouth. They're no longer the bully, and they've lost their identity. That's the biggest problem I've got with the Panthers is they've lost their identity. They used to be that strong defensive team in a division where defense was normally prohibited. They were the one team that says that doesn't apply to us. We come out, we're going to punch you in the mouth, we're going to stop the run, we're going to get after your quarterback, we're going to make life miserable for you. They've lost their identity. They don't know who they are anymore. And when you can't look in the mirror and identify who you are, that's when you go through an identity crisis as a football team. And that's where the Panthers are right now. Vincent Cole says, do you think the Panthers will draft in the top 10 spot in next year's draft? Do you think the Saints should draft the quarterback? Thanks, man. No, the Panthers will not be bad enough to draft in the top 10. They're just not. There are going to be other teams that finish with 4 and 5 wins. Panthers are going to get to 6 or 7 wins. They're going to be in that. They may sneak in the back end of the top 10, depending on how the other teams around the league do. But there's some bad teams. Bears are going to lose a ton of games. 49ers going to lose a ton of games. The Browns, of course, going to lose a ton of games. There's some teams that's going to win 4 or 5 games max this season, and the Panthers are going to probably win more along the lines of 6 or 7, so maybe even 8. So they're not. I don't foresee them. If they do get in the top 10, it'll be the latter portion of the top 10, 9, 10, somewhere in there. Captain Spartan 04 says, I know you should be excited over any win, but will you be excited when your Redskins beat the Panthers if you guys haven't already played? We don't play the Panthers until later on in the season. Yeah, I'll be excited. Like you said, I'm excited about every win. I don't give a damn who the opponent is. We owe the Panthers because they spanked us last year in their building, and they were dabbing and dancing and taking photos on us. So I would love to do nothing more than to take the Panthers out back, put two in their skull, and I'd love for them to be feeling like they're getting their mojo back and win a couple of games, and maybe they're not that far away from getting back into contention, and then having them come to our building on a Monday night and taking them out back and popping two in their skull and putting them down for good. That would bring me so much joy because of how they did us last year. I mean, they did us dirty in Carolina last year. I mean, they put 40 on us. Cam set a record for like touchdowns in the first half. They were handing out balls. They handed out at least 5 or 6 balls to the fans. They were dancing, taking photos, and all kind. Oh man, they had a ball on us last year. So I put them on my list, my hit list. I did a video last year, Redskins hit list. Put the Panthers on the hit list. So yeah, I want those boys bad, but I'm not looking forward to any game. The only game that I'm looking forward to is the next game. We got the Detroit Lions next. Don't ask me about any other team. I can't tell you about anybody else. All I can talk to you about is the Lions. Because I'm a one-track guy. I got tunnel vision. I just want the next team. That's it. Don't ask me about the team we play after that or the team we play a month or two down the road. I don't give a damn about any of those teams. All I care about is the Detroit Lions and how we going to find a way to get a win next week and get the winning streak to 5. Who Dat for Life says, Saints defensive coaching is terrible. They cannot develop players. It doesn't matter who he drafts. Stephon Anthony, for example, I agree. I don't know what's going on there, but they're just not good defensively. And I saw it was bad because last year I saw flashes of guys being playmakers and guys that could develop, and I haven't seen that this year. You know, and that's a shame because this league is all about coaching. You can have talented football players, but guess what? On a roster of 53 guys, you're going to have maybe 3 or 4 guys that are standout athletes that are above the rest at their respective positions. The rest of those guys take coaching. It's amazing because you see these other players land in different spots and you say, well, what's different between this guy and this guy? One player out of the league in 3 years, the other guy is a Pro Bowler, and you ask yourself, what's the difference? They're similar in size, structure, athleticism, came from similar backgrounds. What's the difference? The difference is the fit schematically and the coaching. And right now in New Orleans, it doesn't seem to matter who is being put into that defense. You're not maximizing their talents, and that's a shame because this offense is so good. It's so good. This is an offense that is playoff ready, but the defense, however, is far from it. So that's essentially the problem and dilemma in New Orleans right now. But hey, nonetheless, I don't give a damn. I know Saints fans don't either. Whether it's 3-6, whether it's 41-38. Whether it's 24-27, you'll take it any way you can get it. Saints get their second win of the season and second in a row. Let's see if they can't parlay this into a winning streak. They get the win. They got a tough one against Arizona. I want to say, at Kansas City, if I'm not mistaken, next week. We'll see how that fares. But 2-3, you got a shot to get back to 500. Let's see if you can do that next week. Meanwhile, Panthers go to their bye at 1-5, and they got a lot more questions than answers right now in Carolina. We'll see what happens with them moving forward and if they're able to turn the fortunes of their season around after the bye week. That's going to do it for lockdown coverage here with your man Louie Tee. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down anything and everything in the National Football League. Remember, we're changing the game one live feed at a time. I will see you next time. I got plenty more games to break down, man. Come on back. Plenty more games to break down. As a matter of fact, I think I got 3 more. I know I got Raiders and Chiefs. I know I got Falcons and Seahawks. And I think there's about one more 1 o'clock game in there somewhere. I'll see you in a little bit. Have a good one.